Hey everyone. Welcome back to Talk English Now. I'm Maya.
And I'm Aiden. And today, oh boy, we're diving into three little words that confuse almost every English learner.
Yep, could, would, and should. Tiny words, but they totally change the feeling of your sentence.
Exactly. Like I go, I could go, I should go, and I would go all sound similar, but they each mean something very different.
And honestly, even native speakers mess these up when they're not paying attention. So don't worry if you've been confused, we've got you.
Joining us, as always, is our language expert and lifesaver, Sophie.
Hey, you too. I'm really excited for this one. Could, would, and should are like the secret sauce of natural English. They help you speak more politely, more clearly, and more like a native.
Sophie, why do these three trip people up so much?
Great question. First, they look similar, and they're all modal verbs. That means they're used with the base form of another verb. But the tricky part is the feeling behind each one. Each has a different tone, ability, possibility, advice, hypothetical, and that gets messy fast if you're learning by just memorizing grammar.
So you're saying instead of memorizing rules, it's better to feel how they're used?
Exactly. The best way is to learn them through real-life conversation and context. So let's do that. I'll walk you through examples, and we'll break each one down, starting with could.
Perfect. Let's start simple. Sophie, what does could really mean?
Think of could as the soft, flexible version of can. It shows possibility, polite suggestions, or ability in the past.
So like, I can help you versus I could help you?
Exactly. Can is strong, confident. I can help you means you're sure. I could help you is softer. It sounds like an option, not a promise.
What about for the past?
Great point. When we talk about the past, could shows ability. Like, when I was 5, I could swim.
Oh, okay. So I could speak French when I lived in Paris, but maybe now I've forgotten.
Exactly. It tells us what was possible before. But could is also used to suggest something gently.
Like what?
Let's say your friend says, "I'm bored." You might reply, "We could go for a walk." Not a strong command. Just a soft idea. A suggestion.
Okay, so could equals gentle option, polite offer, or past ability.
Yes. Want to role play?
Always.
Okay, I'll be the friend. You two respond, "I'm thinking about learning guitar."
You could take an online class.
Or you could ask Ben. He plays really well.
Perfect. See how both of you gave soft, polite suggestions? You weren't pushing. You were offering ideas.
I like how natural that sounds.
That's the beauty of could. Now let's move to would.
Here's where my brain always freezes.
You're not alone. But think of would as the imagining word. It's about unreal situations, polite offers, or repeated actions in the past.
Wait, all that?
Let's break it down. First, imagining. If I had $1 million, I would travel the world. That's not real. It's a dream, a wish, a fantasy. Would makes it clear it's not happening right now.
So, if I were taller, I would play basketball professionally?
Perfect. Unreal, but fun to imagine. Second use, polite offers or requests. Would you like some coffee? Much softer than "do you want coffee?"
Ooh, I like that one. It sounds elegant.
And finally, repeated actions in the past. When I was a kid, I would ride my bike every day. Here, would equals a habit. Like saying used to.
So I can say my grandpa would tell us stories at night?
Exactly. Now let's do another quick role play. I'll say something, and you answer with would. If you didn't have to work today, what would you do?
I would stay in bed and watch movies.
I would bake a cake and eat it all myself.
I love it. Playful, imaginary, and totally natural.
This is clicking now. It's not about grammar rules. It's about how you feel when you say it.
Yes. Language is emotion. Now finally, should.
Ah, the advice word.
Exactly. Should is for advice, opinion, or moral sense. It's like saying, this is the right thing to do.
Like, you should sleep early. Or, you shouldn't skip breakfast.
Yes. But it can also be used for mild criticism or suggestion.
Like you should have called me.
Exactly. That's when we use should have plus past verb. You should have studied. You should have told the truth.
And that sounds a little like regret too, right?
Very good catch. We use should have when we look back and think something different was better.
So if I miss the train, I might say I should have left earlier.
Yes. That's a perfect use.
Let's do a speed round. Sophie, give us a situation. We'll pick which one fits, could, would, or should.
Okay, I have a headache.
You should rest.
You could drink some water.
Beautiful. Next one. I don't know what to eat tonight.
We could try that new Thai place.
I would cook if I weren't so tired.
Spot on. And now, I forgot her birthday.
Oof, you should have set a reminder.
Maybe you could write her a sweet message now.
You both nailed it. See how powerful these words are.
And also how friendly they sound. They don't boss people around. They just make you sound calm, helpful, and real.
I'm loving this. And listeners, you're probably hearing these words everywhere now, in movies and songs, on Instagram captions.
Yes. And that's the best way to learn. Listen, notice, imitate, and practice with friends.
We're just getting warmed up, right?
Definitely. In the next section, we'll go even deeper, combining could, would, and should in everyday conversations, including how they change depending on the situation or the speaker's tone.
So don't go anywhere. We'll keep things flowing. More fun examples, more clarity, and more laughs.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We're still talking about could, would, and should, and things are about to get even more interesting.
Because now we're not just learning what they mean, we're learning how they change depending on what you really want to say, like tone, emotion, and even the kind of relationship you have with someone.
Exactly. These words are flexible. The meaning can shift depending on how softly or firmly you want to speak.
Let's start with real conversations. Sophie, what happens when we use these words in different social settings?
Okay, imagine this. You're at a formal dinner. Your boss says, "Would you like some coffee?" That's polite, right?
Very polite, smooth and gentle.
Now picture the same situation, but your close friend says, "You want coffee?" Totally different. Still clear, but a bit direct, even a little casual.
So would is more polite because it adds space. It gives the listener room to say no without pressure.
Exactly. Modal verbs, especially would, are amazing for softening requests. They keep conversations warm and respectful.
Can we try this with different examples?
Sure. Let's say you want someone to close a window. Direct. Close the window. Polite. Could you close the window? Softer. Would you mind closing the window? Even softer. Do you think you could close the window?
Wow, that's 4 different levels of politeness for the same request.
Yes. And native speakers choose based on how formal or friendly the situation is.
What about should? Can should sound rude?
It can if you're not careful with your tone. You should eat less sugar might sound judgmental. But maybe you should try drinking more water, sounds more caring, especially with words like maybe, I think, or it might help if.
So it's not just the word, it's also what you put around the word.
Exactly. Here are some softening phrases that work beautifully with should. I think you should, maybe you should, you might want to consider. It could be a good idea too.
I love this. It's like emotional intelligence in English.
Let's try a practice round. Sophie, you give us a situation. Maya and I will respond using different levels of politeness.
All right. Imagine your roommate keeps leaving dishes in the sink.
Level 1, direct. Stop leaving your dishes.
Level 2, slightly softer. You should clean your dishes after you eat.
Level 3, polite. I think it would be great if you could wash up after meals.
Level 4, ultra soft. Hey, do you think you could help keep the sink clean? It gets really full.
Beautiful. You've moved from commanding to inviting. That's the magic of these words.
Okay, let's talk mistakes. What are the most common ones learners make with could, would, and should?
Good question. One common mistake is using would for ability instead of could. Wrong. When I was 10, I would swim. Better. When I was 10, I could swim. Would is for repeated actions, not ability.
Because I would swim every weekend is about habit, but I could swim is about skill.
Exactly. Another mistake is confusing could have and should have. Let me guess. Could have equals it was possible, should have equals it was the right thing?
Spot on. I could have gone to the party, but I was tired. I had the option. I should have gone to the party. I didn't go, but I regret it.
That's such a useful difference. One's about choice. The other's about regret.
Yes. And one more tip, learners sometimes forget to use the base verb after these modals. Wrong. You should to go. Right. You should go.
So could, would, and should are always followed by the base verb, no to.
Exactly. No to. Just the verb, go, eat, sleep, study, whatever you're doing.
Okay, let's do some mini dialogues. These will help our listeners really feel how it works.
Love it. Let's keep it casual and fun. Mini dialogue 1. Restaurant.
Could we get the check, please? Sure. I'll bring it right over.
Your could is used to politely ask. You're not saying give me the check. You're saying could we? Friendly and soft. Mini dialogue 2. Giving advice friend. I've been so tired lately. You should get more sleep. Maybe skip that third coffee?
Great use of should. It gives advice, but doesn't sound harsh because Maya kept it friendly. Mini dialogue 3. Dreaming.
If I won the lottery, I would buy a tiny house in the forest.
I would travel for a year, just me in a backpack.
Here, would creates imaginary futures. These aren't real, just fun to think about.
This is such a fun way to learn. Honestly, the more we say these words, the more natural they feel.
And it's not about being perfect, it's about being expressive. You don't need to get every grammar point right. Just say what you mean with feeling.
Yes, that's what real conversation is. Don't worry about getting a gold star. Focus on connection.
Sophie, before we wrap this section, what's one final tip to help our listeners get more comfortable using these?
Here's what I tell all my students. Mirror real conversations. Listen to native speakers, movies, podcasts, YouTube. Pause. Repeat. Shadow their speech. Feel their rhythm.
So if someone says, "Would you like to try this?" I just pause and say it back?
Exactly. Copy their tone, rhythm, and emotion. You're not just learning English, you're learning how English feels.
I love that. You don't just speak English with your brain, you speak it with your heart.
That's beautiful, Maya. And true. Because when you speak with emotion, people listen.
All right, folks, we're going to keep this going. In the next section, we'll get into real mistakes people make in conversation and how to fix them in a natural way. Like when someone says "I would went" or "you should to come," we'll correct that gently and clearly.
And we'll also play a fun game. Guess the mood based on the sentence. Is it advice, imagination, regret, or suggestion?
That's going to be so fun and super helpful for everyone listening.
All right, stay with us. We'll be right back with more English, more laughs, and more could, would, should magic.
All right, everyone, we're back, and it's time to clean up some of the most common mistakes with could, would, and should. These are the little errors that sneak into everyday speech and make conversations sound just a bit off.
And the good news? Once you hear them clearly, they're easy to fix. You just need a little awareness and a few good examples.
Exactly. We're going to look at what people say when they're trying to use these modal verbs and how to make those sentences smoother, more natural, and grammatically correct.
All right, let's do this like a spot the mistake game. Sophie, you give us the sentence. We'll see if we can fix it.
Deal. Here's the first one. You should to drink more water.
Ah, that too doesn't belong. It should be, you should drink more water.
Perfect. Remember, modal verbs like should, could, and would are always followed by the base verb, without to. No to go. No to eat. Just go, eat, sleep.
That's such a helpful rule. What's the next one?
Here it is. If I have more time, I would travel.
That sounds a bit off. Shouldn't it be, if I had more time, I would travel?
Yes, you caught it. This is the classic second conditional structure when we talk about imaginary situations in the present or future. It's if plus past tense, then would plus base verb.
So not if I have, but if I had.
Exactly. Like, if I were rich, I would buy a plane. If I had wings, I would fly.
These are great. Okay, what's another one?
How about this? I could went to the party, but I was too tired.
That should be, I could have gone to the party.
Nice. When you're using could in the past to show possibility that didn't happen, you say could have plus past participle. I could have studied harder. We could have won the game.
What about this one? She would to help if she had time.
No to. It should be, she would help if she had time.
Exactly. Again, would is followed by the base verb. That to always sneaks in, but we've got to kick it out.
Okay, let's switch it up a bit. I want to play a quick game. Guess the mood.
Yes. Love this one.
I'll read a sentence using could, would, or should, and you tell me if it's A, a suggestion, B, a past regret, C, a polite request, D, a dream or fantasy. Ready?
Let's go.
Sentence 1. You should really talk to your boss.
That's a suggestion.
Correct.
Sentence 2. I would travel the world if I didn't have bills.
That's a dream. A fantasy.
Yep.
Sentence 3. Could you help me carry this?
Polite request.
Exactly. And so much nicer than just saying, help me.
Sentence 4. I should have studied harder for the exam.
Past regret.
Yes, a classic should have sentence.
Okay, my turn. Sentence 5. We could visit grandma this weekend.
That's a suggestion.
Perfect again.
Sentence 6. I would have told you if I had known.
Ooh, that's regret and a bit of emotion.
Nice. It's a kind of mixed conditional. Shows something didn't happen in the past because of a different situation.
This is actually really fun and useful. You hear these sentences every day in movies, on the street, at work, in texts. Knowing how they work gives you power.
Yes. And you don't need to explain the grammar every time. Just listen, notice the patterns, and try using them.
Speaking of which, let's walk through a real-life conversation. One that uses could, would, and should naturally. Like a little scene from life.
Perfect. Let's imagine you and Maya are friends talking about what to do this weekend.
Maya, I was thinking we could go to the lake on Saturday.
That sounds great, but I should help my sister move in the morning.
We could go in the afternoon instead.
I would love that. And I could bring snacks.
Yes. And if it rains, we could always just hang out at my place.
You know what? We should make this a monthly thing.
Amazing. See how smoothly they all flowed into your sentences. That's how it works in real conversation. Quick, natural, and full of emotion.
What I love is that each word gives a different feeling. Could equals options, would equals imaginary, or polite, should equals advice or opinion.
And when you mix them, you sound flexible, thoughtful, and kind. No pressure, just connection.
Yes, that's the real secret to these words. They don't just change grammar, they shape relationships. They help you sound less like a robot and more like a human being.
Before we wrap up this part, let's do a rapid-fire shadowing round for our listeners.
Great idea. Sophie, say a sentence. We'll repeat it after you.
All right. First one, I could meet you after work.
I could meet you after work.
Next, would you like to join us?
Would you like to join us?
Next, you should try this, it's amazing.
You should try this, it's amazing.
Next, I could have gone, but I was tired.
I could have gone, but I was tired.
Next, I would help, but I have a meeting.
I would help, but I have a meeting.
And one last one, you should have told me earlier.
You should have told me earlier.
That was so helpful. And listeners, feel free to rewind and shadow those again. Practice makes fluent.
Next up, we'll do something special. We'll take common real-life problems like being late, missing a meeting, giving advice to a friend, and show how could, would, and should change the entire tone of what you say.
It's going to show you how powerful your word choice really is, especially in emotional situations.
Let's keep going. You're learning real English, the kind that actually matters. Okay, friends. For this final part, we're going to take real emotional situations, the kind we all face, and show how using could, would, and should completely changes the mood, the meaning, and even the outcome of what you say.
Because sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And these 3 words can help you say the right thing in the right way.
Yes. And we're not talking about exams or formal grammar. We're talking about your relationships, your job, your friends, your emotions, real-life communication.
All right, Sophie, let's dive in. Can you give us an example where using these words can change everything?
Sure. Let's say someone is late. Here are 2 versions of how you might respond. Version 1. Why are you always late? You need to be on time. Version 2. Hey, maybe you could try setting an earlier alarm?
Whoa. The first one sounds angry, defensive, like you're attacking.
But the second one sounds like you care, like you're suggesting a helpful idea, not criticizing.
Exactly. And that's the magic. Could softens the request. It invites a solution. It creates safety.
Let's do another one. What if your friend is stuck in a toxic relationship?
Okay. Here's how should works in that context. You should think about what makes you happy. You shouldn't let anyone treat you that way. Both are gentle forms of guidance.
But it still gives them space to choose. You're not saying leave them. You're saying here's something to think about.
Yes. And you can soften it even more. I think you should ask yourself if this is what you want. Maybe you should take a break and see how you feel.
It's amazing how a small shift in words changes the entire emotional tone.
Let's look at would now. Imagine you're apologizing.
Oof, always a sensitive moment.
Here are 2 options. A, I didn't mean to hurt you. B, I would never hurt you on purpose.
The second one feels deeper, more heartfelt.
Yeah, it shows who you are, not just what you did.
Exactly. Would helps express your intention, your character. It's not just a statement, it's a promise.
So when you say, I would never lie to you, you're saying, this is not who I am.
Yes. And when you say, I would have told you, but I didn't know, you're explaining your actions with care.
All right, let's do a little challenge. Sophie, give us emotional situations. Maya and I will respond using could, would, or should in the best way possible.
Love it. Situation 1. Your friend just failed an important exam.
You could try talking to the teacher. Maybe there's a way to improve your grade.
You shouldn't give up. This one test doesn't define you.
Excellent. Very kind and supportive. Situation 2. A coworker missed a deadline.
Hey, maybe next time you could ask for help earlier?
If I were in your shoes, I would feel stressed too. Let's figure it out together.
Beautiful use of empathy and suggestion.
Situation 3. You're telling someone how much they mean to you.
I would choose you as my friend all over again.
We couldn't imagine my life without you in it.
Wow. That's so powerful and poetic. Language with feeling.
This really shows that learning English isn't just about sounding correct. It's about expressing emotion, understanding the situation, and responding with care.
Totally. And sometimes the best thing you can say is a small, soft sentence using these words.
Yes. That's why I always say modals are the heart of human language. They show doubt, possibility, kindness, regret, love, all the complicated stuff.
So for our listeners, if you remember nothing else, remember this.
Could is for possibilities, soft ideas, gentle questions. Would is for dreams, polite offers, and emotional intention. Should is for advice, opinions, and reflection.
And when you combine them with tone, body language, and empathy, you'll speak English not just fluently, but beautifully.
Sophie, thank you for this amazing conversation.
Always a pleasure. And to everyone listening, practice these words. Use them in little ways. In texts. In conversations. Out loud to yourself.
And don't be afraid to mess up. Because every mistake is a step toward confidence.
You could even write your own examples today. You should try it, really. And we would love to hear how it goes.
Nice wrap up. You too.
All right, friends. Thanks for tuning in to Talk English Now.
Speak kindly, speak confidently, and remember, the right words can change everything.
See you next time. Bye.
See you next time. Bye.
See you next time. Bye.